Welcome to Chamber Exchange, a TV show. My name is Tim Murray, President and CEO of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Chamber Exchange is a TV show is an opportunity for us to bring on guests who are active in economic development and job creation in the area. And we also discuss issues of public policy that impact jobs in central Massachusetts. And I'm really happy to have with us in our first segment, Michael Welch, who is the CEO of Unibank.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Michael, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me in.
So maybe, for our viewers who may not be familiar with Unibank, you could just give a little background and history of the bank, and then we'll get into why that's significant.
Sure, yeah. So we're a bank based in Whitensville. We've been around for 152 years. In many ways, residential, commercial, small business, but we also have a niche in municipal business as well as specialty lending, boats and airplanes. So it's a very diverse portfolio that we carry.
Now, COVID threw a wrench into a lot of people's, plans in a variety of different ways. And Unibank, you mentioned, been around for a while, 150 years. And 2 years ago, I think you were hoping to have a pretty significant milestone event with the 150th anniversary of the bank. And that got put off a little bit, so you've had a +2, and maybe you can talk a little bit about how you've celebrated that history and growth in the region.
Sure, thanks, Tim. So as you mentioned, we turned 150 in 2020, but because of the pandemic, that wasn't the time to celebrate. As I've mentioned to folks, that was the time to roll up the sleeves and really help, individuals and small businesses, particularly with the PPP. So, our staff was working day and night, literally, and on the weekends, helping small businesses survive that period of time. But now that we're coming out of COVID, we said, it's still important to celebrate milestones. There's not many institutions that are left that are 150 years old. So we think that's important for the fabric of society to celebrate those good institutions that are still there, doing good in the community. So, we've had a great celebration this year. We've done a number of different things. We had a big event in Whitensville, as you know, last month, and it was just a great celebration.
Yeah, I want to mention that, but I do think, and kudos to you and your team, we saw firsthand as the Chamber was trying to represent our member businesses, really how important our local community regional banks were in being responsive to so many small businesses in a crisis, a healthcare crisis, an economic crisis, to be able to stay open, keep people on the payroll, reopen, and the Paycheck Protection Program was one of the things the government did very well in a short period of time, but there wasn't a lot of guidance for you and banks, and you guys kind of had to kind of handle it as you went along, but it was absolutely critical to making sure the economy stayed open and businesses were on good footing once we would get the pandemic behind us.
Yeah, and I think these are things we learn. A lot of people and anybody can do business when things are easy and things are good and flying high. I think the pandemic really focused us on, hey, when we need help is local. Yeah. And you got to be able to pick up the phone and know somebody at the other end and say, hey, Mike, can you? And then that's how it all gets done.
Yeah, and if there's any silver lining in the pandemic, I did think it reinforced how local institutions, whether it be a bank that's been around for a long time or organizations like the United Way, Greater Worcester Community Foundation, the Chamber. You're a member of our board. We made a decision to open up our services to non-Chamber member businesses to help guide them. So those institutions that are focused on the short and long-term interests of the community are critical. So you had to put off the party, the 150th anniversary party celebration.
Put the balloons away.
A great event, but not just a one-day event, kind of a commitment to the community.
Yes. So what we did, Tim, was how do you mark an institution at 150 years? And we think history is important to reflect back, to draw on the ethos of an organization. But again, it's about the future. Any celebration needs to be about the future and where are we going. So we thought, all right, what can we do to make a commitment? Banks like to give away plastic cups and plastic pens. And we thought, well, we should probably do something a little bit more meaningful. So as you know, we had started the Charitable Foundation, or announced it last fall, with a $2 million commitment. So we wanted to really more than double down at this point. So Unibank announced a $5 million commitment to our charitable foundation for $1 million a year each of the next 5 years for a $5 million commitment to the foundation. That's on top of the $750,000 that we're giving annually out of the, kind of our operating fund. So we're almost $2 million a year to charitable commitment
Out
to
into
the
the community.
Yeah, and that's, and that's who we want to be. We were talking about, the history and, why are we successful, is we are just singularly focused on what our mission is. And we're firm believers, by doing good, everybody's going to do well. And that's where we are.
And it's important. Unibank is, you've explained to me in the past, a mutual bank.
Yes.
So not beholden to stockholders.
Correct.
You're committed to the clients that do
That's
business with you and to the community. So,
That's right.
Bank, you want to make a profit, you want to do well, but
That's right.
part of the mission is to reinvest back into the bank
Correct.
in terms of lending money out, but also creating this foundation.
Yes, so, we have, one of our mantras is mission first. Money will follow mission. And if we have a strong mission of giving back, and that's been the beauty of Worcester. Who's doing good in the community, and then people, line up around that. So that commitment to giving back, I think, just generates, good feelings in the community, so that, our brand continues to grow. Now as the largest bank headquartered in Central Mass at, roughly $2.3 billion. We're large enough to help everybody, yet still local enough to know everybody. And that's been really the kind of the magic sauce for us.
Right, and when you go back to that the origins of the 150 years, I think if I remember, Uxbridge Bank,
Yes. Whitensville Savings Bank.
Savings, and was there a third somewhere in
Nope.
there too? Okay, those were the two. But now you've grown
Yes.
and throughout the region, and maybe you could talk about what that geographic region.
So our footprint is Blackstone Valley, but then we've grown the Metro West, in Hopkinton and Grafton, Upton, and then also up to Worcester. So that's our strategic footprint. So, we're not heading out into Boston. Now we do, commercial deals in Boston. So our philosophy is we're going to stay local, but with our commercial real estate, with our boats and planes, even in that world, we go out nationally, but the money funnels local, and then that gets distributed locally. So that's really important to us. So, similar to the 1870s, Unibank, then Whitensville Savings Bank and Uxbridge Savings Bank really helped fund the Industrial Revolution that went on in the country at that point. That had a significant impact. And, because of you and so many others at Augustus, Tom Petty and others, the growth of Worcester and the growth of Unibank together, we're part of this new revitalization of our region, which we find very exciting. So will we have further growth up in the Worcester area? Yes, without question. Will we have further growth in Metro West? Yes, without question.
Yeah, and from your previous role at St. John's, there has been kind of a total shift, a dramatic shift, I think, in thinking with a lot of people from the 495 corridor who used to always look to the east and to the Boston area for maybe banking relationships, where their business might grow, where individuals and families might go for entertainment or dinner, looking into to the Boston area. That has done a complete 180, and 360 rather, 180. I'm getting my looking back to the west, looking back to the west in central Massachusetts.
Yeah, I think what's exciting, because we're both Worcester guys, right? And we've been here for a long time. So as you're driving the car went to Boston. And then periodically you look in the rearview mirror, right, and look back at Worcester. Now the car is turned. People are driving to Worcester purposefully for business, for family. I mean, it just makes sense, right? People can afford to be here. We were one of the original founding partners of the Worcester Red Sox with the entertainment there. The whole Canal District downtown is coming to life. The energy is here. So, yeah, it's an exciting time to be in our region.
Yeah, and we just have a minute left. You mentioned the Worcester Red Sox and Unibank being one of the founding partners, but also putting some of the entertainment, the weekend fireworks. Yeah.
It's been awesome. Our partnership with the Worcester Red Sox has been phenomenal for us, and hopefully it has been for them as well. But the Friday night fireworks, I mean, that's just great brand awareness, and the people stay.
Right, they do.
And for old people like me, we stay for those fireworks. It's fun and exciting.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Michael Welch, Unibank CEO, celebrating 150 plus 2.
Thanks, Tim.
Congratulations, and thanks for being
Thanks
with us.
for all your support. Chamber's been great.
Great. And we're going to come right back for the next segment of Chamber Exchange.
These days, you've got your hands full in life. That's why we help you bank simply and securely with tools like Face ID and Touch ID. It's why we make it easy to make purchases on the go and get cash back while you're at it. Why we help you quickly deposit checks wherever you are. And it's why we lend a hand with sending and receiving money right from your phone. So even when you're on the move, you can manage your finances. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.